It was a clear morning at JFK International Airport, and Flight 472 to Tokyo was preparing for takeoff. The aircraft, a sleek Boeing 777, gleamed under the morning sun as passengers boarded, their faces reflecting a mix of excitement and exhaustion. Business people were engrossed in their laptops, families were shuffling kids to their seats, and solo travelers were plugging in their headphones. Everything seemed routine until it wasn't. As the flight attendants prepared for departure, a strange energy swept through the cabin. An elderly woman in first class nervously fidgeted with her pearls, glancing at the other passengers as if searching for someone. A man in economy class clutched a briefcase so tightly his knuckles turned white. Meanwhile, the captain, a seasoned pilot named Captain James Halstead, and his co-pilot Maria Velasquez were conducting their pre-flight checks in the cockpit. "Clear for takeoff," came the control tower's voice through the radio. Captain Halstead gave a thumbs up, and the plane roared to life, speeding down the runway. Moments later, the aircraft lifted into the air, and the city below became a patchwork of lights and shadows. The flight attendants began their routine announcements, offering drinks and meals, and passengers settled into the rhythm of a long-haul flight. About an hour into the flight, just as the first meal service began, the intercom crackled. Captain Halstead's calm, authoritative voice came through. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We're cruising at 35,000 feet, and the weather ahead looks clear for a smooth flight to Tokyo. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy the journey." But no sooner had the captain finished his announcement than the cabin lights flickered. A faint murmur spread among the passengers, but the flight attendants quickly reassured them it was a minor technical glitch. Then, barely 5 minutes later, the intercom crackled again. This time, Halstead's voice was different, strained, almost trembling. "Ladies and gentlemen, I need your full attention. We've received an unverified threat, a potential security concern aboard this aircraft." The cabin erupted into chaos. Passengers looked at one another in confusion and fear. "What kind of threat?" someone shouted. The flight attendants tried to maintain order, but the tension was palpable. Halstead continued, "I must ask everyone to remain seated and calm. We're currently investigating the situation. I will provide updates as soon as possible." In the wake of the announcement, passengers began scanning their surroundings, paranoia taking hold. A man seated near the emergency exit seemed to draw particular attention. He was dressed in a black hoodie, kept his face partially obscured, and hadn't interacted with anyone since boarding. A few rows away, a woman whispered to her seatmate, "I saw him slip something into the overhead bin earlier. What if he's hiding something dangerous?" Meanwhile, in the cockpit, Captain Halstead and co-pilot Velasquez were receiving updates from the cabin crew. "There's a passenger in 23C who's acting suspicious," said the head flight attendant. "He refuses to answer questions and seems nervous." Halstead nodded grimly. "Let's not jump to conclusions. We'll follow protocol. Notify the air marshal on board." Unbeknownst to most of the passengers, there was indeed an air marshal disguised as a traveler in economy class. Agent Cole Bennett, seated inconspicuously near the rear, had already taken note of the man in the hoodie. Bennett discreetly unbuckled his seatbelt and prepared to investigate. As Bennett approached, the man in the hoodie suddenly stood up, drawing gasps from nearby passengers. But instead of pulling out a weapon or making a scene, he handed a folded piece of paper to the flight attendant and sat back down without a word. The note was rushed to the cockpit. Halstead unfolded it with shaky hands. The message, written in blocky, almost childlike handwriting, read, "There's a bomb on board. Do not land this plane, or it will detonate." Halstead felt a chill run down his spine. He turned to Velasquez. This just got a lot more complicated. With the note in hand, Halstead contacted air traffic control. The authorities scrambled into action, coordinating with counter-terrorism units and bomb squads on the ground. Fighter jets were placed on standby in case the plane needed to be intercepted. Back in the cabin, the tension was unbearable. The man in the hoodie remained silent, his face expressionless. Agent Bennett, now convinced the man knew more than he let on, whispered to him, "If you're involved in this, now's your chance to cooperate." The man hesitated before muttering, "I didn't write the note, but you're looking in the wrong place." Before Bennett could respond, another passenger, a quiet woman in business attire seated near the front, suddenly stood up and shouted, "Everyone listen, there's something you need to know." The woman's outburst stunned the cabin into silence. She pulled out a device from her handbag, holding it up for everyone to see. "This is a trigger for the bomb," she announced. "But I'm not your enemy. I'm trying to stop this." Her words left everyone, including the crew, frozen in disbelief. "Explain yourself," Halstead demanded over the intercom. The woman, whose name was revealed to be Dr. Eliza Morton, a cybersecurity expert, explained that she had intercepted communications from a rogue group planning to hijack the flight. She had boarded the plane to find the bomb and disarm it, but hadn't anticipated being discovered. "I need access to the cargo hold," she said. "That's where the bomb is. If we don't act now, we're running out of time." Captain Halstead made a bold decision. With input from ground authorities, he authorized Dr. Morton to search the cargo hold. Accompanied by Agent Bennett and 2 flight attendants, she descended into the belly of the plane. After a tense search, they found the device a crude but dangerous-looking explosive hidden inside a suitcase. With mere minutes left on the timer, Dr. Morton used her expertise to deactivate it, sweat pouring down her face as she worked. Finally, the timer stopped at 001. The cabin erupted in cheers as news spread that the threat had been neutralized. Captain Halstead, his voice steadier than before, announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, the threat has been resolved. We will be making an emergency landing in Honolulu for further investigation. Thank you for your cooperation." As the plane touched down, passengers burst into applause. On the tarmac, a team of FBI agents and bomb disposal experts awaited, ready to take over. Dr. Morton was hailed as a hero, though she brushed off the praise, saying, "I just did what had to be done." In the days that followed, the dramatic events of Flight 472 dominated headlines and captivated the attention of people around the world. News outlets dissected every detail of the harrowing journey, from the cryptic note to the tense moments in the cargo hold, while experts and officials raised urgent questions about aviation security protocols and the shadowy, unidentified group responsible for orchestrating the plot. The incident ignited widespread debate about the vulnerabilities in modern air travel and the need for enhanced safeguards to prevent such crises in the future. Yet amidst all the analysis and speculation, one undeniable truth emerged. The passengers and crew aboard Flight 472 owed their survival to the extraordinary quick thinking, courage, and resourcefulness displayed by a handful of individuals who rose to the occasion under unimaginable pressure. Their actions transformed what could have been a devastating tragedy into a remarkable story of resilience and heroism, inspiring countless others around the globe.